Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. Lawmakers and the nation are tonight digesting gripping, often gut-wrenching accounts from State Department employees about the terror attacks that killed 4 Americans last September in Libya, including the U.S. ambassador. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen with new evidence showing what members of the administration knew and when they knew it. But we begin with Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel on Capitol Hill. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening. Powerful words from State Department whistleblowers still full of emotion some 8 months after 4 Americans were killed in Benghazi.
I got the ambassador on the other end, and he said, "Greg, we're under attack." And it was also a bad cell phone night in Tripoli. Connections were weak. And I said, "Okay," and the line cut.
Emotional testimony from Gregory Hicks, who served as deputy to Ambassador Chris Stevens and was in Libya the night of the Benghazi attack.
At about 3 a.m., I received a call from the Prime Minister of Libya. I think it's the saddest phone call I've ever had in my life. He told me that Ambassador Stevens had passed away.
Hicks also spoke about the Special Forces troops prepared to travel from Tripoli to Benghazi when they were stopped, much to their frustration.
How did the personnel react to being told to stand down?
They were furious. I can only say, well, I will quote Lieutenant Colonel Gibson. He said, "This is the first time in my career that a diplomat has more balls than somebody in the military."
Lawmakers also asked the man who is deputy coordinator for operations of the State Department's Counterterrorism Bureau, Mark Thompson, about how quickly those involved thought last September 11th was a terror attack.
Mr. Thompson, you went through a process of things that you observed and how you tried to activate your team. Did you do so because you had an initial view of whether this was a terrorist attack or something else?
Yes.
There was also scrutiny of the Obama administration's narrative days after the Benghazi attack.
So fast forward, Mr. Hicks, to the Sunday talk shows and Ambassador Susan Rice. She blamed this attack on a video. In fact, she did it 5 different times. What was your reaction to that?
I was stunned. My jaw dropped. And I was embarrassed.
Though the committee's top Democrat criticized Issa and his intentions.
Let me be clear. I am not questioning the motives of our witnesses. I am questioning the motives of those who want to use their statements for political purposes.
Late this afternoon, Congressman Chaffetz asked Hicks if the U.S. had asked permission of the Libyans to fly a military mission in its airspace. Hicks said no, but said he believed the Libyans would have granted it. Brett?
Mike Emanuel live outside the hearing room. Mike, thank you. There was particular focus today on the now infamous Sunday talk show marathon by UN Ambassador Susan Rice. You just heard Mike mention it there. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen has that part of the story and more.
Every piece of information that we get, as we got it, we laid it out for the American people.
If any administration official, including any career official, had been on television on Sunday, September 16th, they would have said the same thing that Ambassador Rice would have said.
Those statements about what the Obama administration knew when UN Ambassador Susan Rice appeared on the Sunday shows of September 16 came under fresh assault.
Did you report to anyone in Washington within the first couple of days that there was anything in connection, a protest in connection to a YouTube video?
No, the only report that our mission made through every channel was that there had been an attack on a consulate.
Not a protest.
No protest.
Further evidence that Mr. Obama's aides knew Rice's narrative was false came when a GOP lawmaker read from a previously undisclosed email that Beth Jones, acting Assistant Secretary of State for the Mideast, sent on September 12th about her discussions with the Libyan ambassador.
This is from Ms. Jones to you, to counsel for Hillary Clinton, to Victoria Nuland, to Mr. Kennedy, and then I'm going to read from it. When he said his government suspected that former Gaddafi regime elements carried out the attacks, I told him that the group that conducted the attacks, Ansar al-Sharia, is affiliated with Islamic terrorists.
On September 14th, a CIA document, first published in the May 13 issue of the Weekly Standard, likewise stated, "We do know that Islamic extremists with ties to al-Qaeda participated in the attack." Yet Rice and other senior U.S. officials, far from putting out every piece of information as they got it, continue to press the false narrative.
Our initial information, and that includes all information, we saw no evidence to back up claims by others that this was a pre-planned or premeditated attack.
I wish I could sit here today and tell you that within days, within a week, by September 20th, when we came up here, we had a clear picture. We did not have a clear picture.
Another newly unveiled email was sent on 9/11 by Mark Thompson, the operations officer at the State Department's Counterterrorism Bureau. With the U.S. annex in Benghazi about to face mortar fire, Thompson wrote to Patrick Kennedy's deputy, wondering why the undersecretary had swiftly rejected the option that the FBI and the Defense Department's Special Operations Command had recommended that night, the deployment of the Foreign Emergency Support Team, or FEST.
You wrote, quote, "I am told that Pat Kennedy participated in a very senior conference call with the White House and discouraged a FEST option. When FBI was contacted, they responded that this situation would be better addressed via a FEST response. Why was FEST not called into action?"
I do not know.
This week, Thompson's former boss, Daniel Benjamin, said the decision not to deploy FEST was the correct one. But the day after the attacks, Thompson wrote in an email to two colleagues,
Daniel Benjamin on the phone this morning. He understands my FEST points, concurs, but expressed his pessimism regarding our deployment and by extension does not intend to lobby for our inclusion, end quote.
In a 5-page point-by-point prebuttal released late Tuesday, a senior State Department official argued that FEST could not have arrived in Libya in time to help the besieged Americans. Brett.
One thing is clear, James, that there were Democrats calling for more hearings, more documents today. This is not going away.
Perhaps could climax in a select committee.
Okay, James, thank you.